What would your husband make of all of this? What would he have made of the 100 years?
I think he'd be surprised at all the fuss, actually. He was a very um, understated man, and he didn't like too much formality. I think he was deeply shy, quite frankly.
He must have said something pretty wonderful and pretty smooth to win you over. Do you remember what that was?
Well, it's quite a story, actually. I was completely unaware, and we did spend time together proofreading. I worked at my friend said she was looking to go to England, and we were saving money like they were in the 20s. And she said, there's a job at the university, and there's one at the English department, there's one at the law school. She said, I'll take the English department, you take the law school, because my brother was doing law and she didn't want to be there. So I said, yes, certainly. So I fronted up. And but part of my job was typing and all that stuff, and and proofreading. He was establishing the West Australian Law Journal, and so he asked whether I'd mind proofreading. And during that course, we'd talk about all sorts of things like films and travel and so on. And in the tea room, we often had a bit of a conversation. So I was rather unaware that he apparently had some interest in me. And I, after 18 months, one morning I said, Professor Beasley, I must tell you that I'll be resigning, and I intend travelling to London. And he said, oh, how long? And I said, indefinitely. So anyway, that happened, and next morning he called me into his office and he said, I'd like to speak to you, Miss Poynton. And I sat down and he said, how long will you be away? And I explained again. He sat there and then he said, leaned over and he said, will you marry me?
So there was a little of, I'm off to London, and he said, can I come too? A little of that. Please don't leave me.
I think so. I think he thought, well, yes, maybe I wasn't aware of the. I mean, I admired him. I thought he was he's a brilliant man and very witty, very caustic wit. And he would tell me, "Oh, you're a quarter of a century old, Miss Poynton."
What was the answer to that question, though? He said, "Will you marry me?" What was the response?
I said formally, I'll have to think about it, Professor Beasley. And so I did for a day or two, and things were going along. And then one morning he called me again to his office and he said, pulled out something from his pocket. It was a special license, and he said, let's get married today.
Do you think...
So we did.
Do you think, and I think this is impossible to know, but do you think that that fighting in a war could have something to do with being that way?
I think
to say,
so.
There's not a second to lose here. I love this woman.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes, I think you're right. Yes, I think so. That time would be lost otherwise, because one never knew what the future held.